1. What is the maximum allowable crosswind component for a Boeing 737-800 on a dry runway? 33 knots, 35 knots, 38 knots, 40 knots? 2. According to 14 CFR Part 121, what is the minimum fuel reserve required for domestic operations? A. 30 minutes at normal cruising fuel consumption. B. 45 minutes at normal cruising fuel consumption. C. 1 hour at normal cruising fuel consumption. D. 2 hours at normal cruising fuel consumption. 3. What does the term V1 represent in aircraft performance calculations? A. Takeoff safety speed. B. Decision speed. Rotation speed. Climb speed. 4. Which weather phenomenon would most likely require an aircraft dispatcher to issue a significant weather advisory? A. Light turbulence below 10,000 feet. B. Moderate icing in clouds. C. Severe thunderstorms along the route. D. Visibility of 3 miles in mist. 5. What is the standard temperature lapse rate in the troposphere? A. 1.5 degrees per 1,000 feet. B. 2 graces per 1,000 feet. C. 2.5 per 1,000 feet. D. 3.0 degrees per 1,000 feet. 6. Under 14 CFR Part 121, what is the maximum duty period for a 2-pilot crew on a domestic flight? A. 8 hours. B. 9 hours. C. D. 12 hours. 7. What altitude should be used when filing a flight plan for an IFR flight on an eastbound route? Any altitude. Odd thousands. C. Even thousands. D. Flight levels ending in 500 feet. 8. Which of the following would require an alternate airport to be listed on a flight plan under IFR conditions? A. Destination weather forecasts, ceiling of 3,000 feet and visibility 5 miles. B. Destination weather forecasts, ceiling of 2,000 feet and visibility 3 miles. C. Destination weather forecasts, ceiling of 1,500 feet and visibility 2 miles. D. Destination weather forecasts, ceiling of 500 feet and visibility 1 mile. 9. What is the maximum takeoff weight limitation primarily determined by? A. Runway length, obstacles, and climb gradient requirements. B. Aircraft structural limits only. Fuel capacity. D. Passenger load. 10. What is the primary purpose of a standard instrument departure? A. To provide obstacle clearance and reduce pilot-controller workload. B. To provide the quickest route to cruise altitude. C. To ensure proper spacing between departing aircraft. To establish communication procedures with ATC. 11. What is the purpose of a dispatch release? A. To authorize the pilot to start engines. B. To provide flight authorization and operational control. C. To release the aircraft from maintenance. D. To authorize passenger boarding. 12. At what altitude does the standard atmosphere pressure equal 29.92 inches of mercury? A. Mean sea level. B. 5,000 feet. C. 10,000 feet. D. 18,000 feet. 13. What is the minimum equipment required for an aircraft to be dispatched under MEL procedures? A. All equipment must be operational. B. Only equipment listed in the MEL may be inoperative. C. Any non-critical equipment may be inoperative. D. Equipment determined by the pilot in command. 14. Which meteorological condition is most conducive to carburetor icing? A. Temperature below 0 Celsius with low humidity. B. Temperature between -5 and 15 degrees Celsius with visible moisture. C. Temperature above 20 degrees Celsius with high humidity. D. Any temperature with precipitation. 15. What does ETOPS stand for in aviation operations? A. Extended twin operations. B. Extended range twin engine operational performance standards. C. Emergency twin operations procedures. D. Extended time over Pacific sectors. 16. What is the required minimum navigation performance for RNAV operations? A. Within 1 nautical mile of the desired path. B. Within 2 nautical miles of the desired path for 95% of flight time. C. Within 5 nautical miles of the desired path. D. Varies by aircraft type. 17. Which factor has the greatest impact on aircraft takeoff performance? A. Wind direction and velocity. B. Temperature. C. Pressure altitude. D. All factors equally affect performance. 18. What is the standard holding pattern entry procedure when approaching the holding fix from the northwest in a standard pattern? Direct entry, parallel entry, teardrop entry, offset entry. 19. Under what conditions must a dispatcher re-release a flight? A change in fuel load. B. Change in passenger count. C. Substantial change in weather or operational conditions. Change in crew members. 20. What is the maximum certificated takeoff weight for a Boeing 777-300ER? A. 660,000 pounds. B. 700,000 pounds. C. 775 pounds. D. 800,000 pounds. 21. Which document must the aircraft dispatcher sign to share legal responsibility with the pilot in command? A. Flight manifest. B. Dispatch release. C. Weather briefing. D. Maintenance log. 22. What is the standard rate of turn for aircraft? A. 2 degrees per second. B. 3 degrees per second. C. 4 degrees per second. D. 5 degrees per second. 23. What does MOCA stand for in aviation? A. Minimum operational clearance altitude. B. Minimum obstruction clearance altitude. C. Maximum operational cruising altitude. D. Minimum off-course altitude. 24. Which document must a dispatcher reference to determine if a particular airport can be used as an alternate? A. Airport Facility Directory. B. Company Operation Specifications. C. Airport Analysis. D. Jeppesen Airport Guide. 25. What is the maximum allowable tailwind component for most commercial aircraft during landing? 5 knots. B. 10 knots. 15 knots. D. 20 knots. 26. Under 14 CFR Part 121, who has final authority for the operation of the aircraft? A. Aircraft dispatcher. B. Pilot in command. C. Chief pilot. D. Director of operations. 27. What is the purpose of RVSM, reduced vertical separation minimum? A. To increase airspace capacity between FL-290 and FL-410. B. To reduce separation in terminal areas. C. To allow closer spacing on approach. To reduce fuel consumption. 28. What is the minimum number of flight attendants required on an aircraft with a seating capacity of 100 passengers under Part 121? A. 2 flight attendants. B. 3 flight attendants. C. 4 flight attendants. D. 5 flight attendants. 29. What is the minimum ceiling and visibility required for a Category 1 ILS approach? A. 200 feet ceiling, a half-mile visibility. B. 200 feet ceiling, 1/4 mile visibility. C. 100 feet ceiling, 1/2 mile visibility. D. 100 feet ceiling, 1/4 mile visibility. 30. What does TOTA represent in runway performance calculations? A. Takeoff decision altitude. B. Takeoff distance available. C. Total obstacle distance area. D. Takeoff direction authorization. 31. Which regulation governs the certification and operations of aircraft dispatchers? A. 14 CFR Part 61. B. 14 CFR Part 65. C. 14 CFR Part 21. D. 14 CFR Part 135-32. What is the maximum allowable descent rate during a stabilized approach? A. 500 feet per minute. B. 1,000 feet per minute. C. 1,500 feet per minute. D. 2,000 feet per minute. 33. Which type of fog typically forms when warm, moist air moves over a cold surface? Aviation fog. Advection fog. Upslope fog. Steam fog. 34. What is the standard atmospheric pressure at sea level? 29.92 inches Hg or 13.25 member. B 30 vote inches Hg or 1013 in the B. C 29.82 inches Hg or 1012 meter bar. D 30.10 inches Hg or within 15 ELA B. 35. Under what circumstances can a flight be dispatched with inoperative equipment? A. Never. All equipment must be operational. B. Only with MEL authorization and proper placarding. C. At pilot's discretion. D. Only for non-revenue flights. 36. What is the purpose of the dispatch deviation procedure? A. To allow flights without a dispatcher. To operate under exceptional circumstances with modified procedures. C. To deviate from the flight plan. D. To handle emergency situations. 37. Which factor would require the greatest increase in takeoff distance? A. 10-knot headwind. B. 10-knot tailwind. C. Temperature increase of 10 degrees. D. Pressure altitude increase of 1,000 feet. 38. What does AWOS stand for? A. Automated Weather Observation Service. B. Automated Weather Observation System. C. Aviation Weather Operations Service. D. Automatic Wind Observation System. 39. What is the minimum rest period required for a flight crew member under Part 121 domestic operations? A. 8 consecutive hours. B. 9 consecutive hours. C. 10 consecutive hours. D. 12 consecutive hours. 40. Which document provides the official record of fuel on board, fuel required, and fuel release for a flight? A. Flight plan. B. Dispatch release. C. Load manifest. Fuel slip.